So back now as Cullenberg will go toe-to-toe with the left fielder, Luke Jackson, who had a couple of at-bats in last night's ball game as a pinch hitter, did really well. But let's see what he can do today as Cullenberg wheels and deals a strike down the pipe. Luke Jackson takes all the way. So you got runners on first and second, and that ball is scoured into center field on a line right at Carrington Evans. Only has to move to his right a little bit. And he grabs that one out of the air for the second out. No advancement from the runners at first and second. As now, Cullenberg is working in the middle of the order with Buffkin. Buffkin had a day yesterday. He has 5 homers on the season thus far. And he can run as well. So speed and power poses a prominent threat for the Jags. As Cullenberg doesn't dance around him too much, that fastball fires in just a wee tad low. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. And that ball is scolded out to left. Carrington's getting some extra shots today. That ball hits. I thought it was going out, but Carrington Evans makes a phenomenal grab out in left field as the loud second inning will come to a close with only 1 run coming across the plate, but a loud third out. Let's see if that'll ignite the Jaguars in their half of the second inning on the flip side. So we migrate to the bottom half of the second inning. Folks, my broadcast partner, Media Relations Director Taylor Lamb, is having to do about 5 to 6 jobs as he normally does, but he's also covering for our PA announcer who is not here today, so he is on the public announcer. So while he's doing that, I will take you through games 1 and 2 here at Lake Olmstead Stadium. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Blake Collins, and again, Taylor's doing PA. So we're a little bit short-staffed here, but that doesn't matter as that ball is scorched into center field for the first out of the ball game. First out of the bottom half of the second inning, rather. And Carrington Evans just sent a rocket out to center field. Wind is not blowing much. It is very light. So any ball that's hit in the air is more than likely going to be a dead ball as far as any movement or any push by the wind is concerned. We've got a 0 ball and 1 strike count on freshman right fielder Adam Sperling, who has come up in clutch situations for the Jaguars, especially in last night's ball game and in a couple of others here at Lake Olmstead Stadium this season. But he also ganders at a second pitch strike out of the gate for pitcher for the Braves, Fiore, as he's worked himself into a 3-pitch strikeout on behalf of Adam Sperling, who checks his swing at the ball in the dirt. Catcher does not corral it, so it bounces in front of him, but he pounces on it enough to where Sperling does not run to first base, and he just tags him at the plate. So the second out is recorded here in the bottom half of the second inning. So that will go down in the book as a strikeout. As Jim Widener has moved in the order a little bit down in the order to about the 7th position. He was hitting in the cleanup spot for the Jags, but getting a little bit of time towards the bottom half of the order to see if it can spark his bat. He does, however, take the first 2 pitches he sees from Fiore as 2 balls that barely missed the strike zone. Fiore comes set and delivers a strike, nagging the outside corner. Two and one now's the count. 2 outs in the Jags half of the second. You got bases are free of Jags. Widener swings right through that changeup, looking for a fastball, but Fiore fooled him in a pitcher's pitch changeup outside corner. So that ball navigates to the inside part of the plate for Wagner to take a free base and a free pass off to first base. So the Jaguars have a little bit of running ability on the bag as the center fielder Wags can run if he wants to. And now you have Brent Alford standing in at the plate, catcher for the Jags. He's made a couple of throws out to second base on the defensive half of the Jags that have not turned into any outs, but he's been very active behind the plate thus far today, and he's first pitch he sends to the bouncer to second base. Simple play there for the second baseman for the Braves. Fire over to first base. And just like that, the Braves are out of the second inning as we move to the third inning here in today's 1 o'clock start. The Braves are cooking with Crisco on top, 2-0. Again, first game of the double dip today. First game's at 1, and then the game number 2 will be soon there to follow after this one is completed. On the mound for the Jaguars is Matthew Cullenberg, who has had a little bit of a rough patch the first 2 innings. He's been able to get out of some great jams, but he's allowed 1 run in each of the first 2 innings. It's a sizable lead, though, for a comeback, as the Braves only lead this game by 2. As Cullenberg's next pitch is a inside corner. Umpire gives Cullenberg the call. So it's no ball and 1 strike count. And that ball is popped foul toward the Jaguar dugout and out of play. As you're seeing the right fielder Debo for the Braves shoot one into center field. Straight lace, great single by Debo, pulling his hands inside the baseball and just putting it back to where Cullenberg pitched it and just shot it into center field. Great piece of inside-out approach hitting from Devo, and he stands at first base. Now the DH, Balcom, stands in the middle of the order. Has been proven a tough sell for the Jaguars, and Cullenberg doesn't help himself there as a wild pitch, that looked like a pass ball, but nonetheless, this runner stands at second now, as Alford could not block it as that ball was tailing into the dirt. Balcom tries a bunt. It's very rare that you see a designated hitter in baseball bunt a guy over. Usually a designated hitter is surefire, fortified with contact and power, but you rarely see that attempt as Balcom just did right there, and for good reason. Is that ball was, he got under that bunt and popped it foul back to the net, as he will stand in for his third pitch of this at bat. Doesn't show bunt this time and scolds one into center field, but that is where Jim Wagner is occupying, and he strolls under that one, takes it into the glove for the first out here in the third inning. So your third baseman for your Braves is Beaver, as he stands in versus Cullenberg. Doesn't waste any time when swinging the bat. This Beaver sees a pitch that he likes, gets some serious aluminum on it, just pulls the hands inside too much, torques his hips, and cannot keep that ball fair down the third base line. Sacrifice put out over toward Hobbs as he gets a job done on the ground out, or on the pop out to first base. Hobbs corrals it low to the ground, steps on the bag, but it gets a job done as Debo is standing at third base 90 feet from scoring. Harding's back up for the Braves as he walked in his last at bat. That ball from Cullenberg was pulled in just a little bit when he released the ball, and it ventures inside, but way too low, as it's 1-0. So your lineup for the Braves is the center fielder Rivera leading off as a table setter, Jackson your left field in the number 2 hole, Buffkin, who occupies first base, is your third place hitter, and that ball's ricocheted foul back toward the concourse. Your occupant in right field is Debo for the Braves. Designated hitter Balcom, who stands at third base. Beaver is your third baseman. Harding is following Beaver, and he is at second base. He's the second baseman. And then your catcher is Simpson. Mobley is your shortstop, and on the mound is Fiore for the Braves. You got a 1-ball and 2-strike count. Cullenberg looks in for the sign. Gets it and fires. Wanted a little bit more of a break on that curveball. Didn't curve as much as he wanted to. Finds his way up in the zone for an even 2-2 count. Cullenberg delivers. Fastball inside right to Roberts. Gathers it cleanly, transfers it over. Gets it into Hobbs' glove at first base for the third out of the top half of the third inning. So we go to the bottom half. The Jaguars have got to put some aluminum on the ball, down by 2. So in the Jags half of the second inning, you're looking at the bottom half of the Jaguar order coming up to the dish, and Cummings, Lanford, and I believe Tyler Roberts is in the hole. So 9, 1, and 2 scheduled here in the third inning. On the day for the Braves, the defense behind Fiore has been solid. The only error was on a pickoff move that sailed at first base, and that allowed a Jaguar runner to stand at second. But outside of that, the Jaguars have had not very many offensive chances today, as they are hitless and scoreless here in the bottom half of the third inning. Cummings looks to change that and watches that ball nail the glove outside of the strike zone. And that pitch was waved at, dropped just as Cummings was swinging at it. Great breaking ball to even the count at 1-1. Fiore winds and delivers. Change up outside that Cummings just stares at. And he skews that one off to the left side in foul territory. Fiore's working with a 2-2 count now. You don't want to lose Cummings because he has speed on the base pads, much like Rivera does for the Braves. And the hitter on deck, Lanford, is a really good hitter and clutch hitter for the Jaguars. So if you're Fiore here, you don't want to be too perfect, but you don't want to lose Cummings as well. He doesn't, and Cummings just takes it in for himself, wrapping the bat around a high fastball and just bouncing it in through second base and into center field, almost as if it was a seeing eye single. Cummings stands at first base with a blazing amount of speed. Let's see if Chris Howell, the head coach at third base, elects to use any type or implement any type of strategy, whether it be a hit and run, a straight steal, or anything of that nature. We will see. But Cody Lanford now stands in with a chance here with nobody out in the third inning to cause some damage on the base pads, or cause damage and havoc on the base pads. Instead, elects to bunt, trying to migrate Cummings over to second, but takes a strike in for his efforts. So Fiore's been lights out with Jamal Cummings anchoring in the Jags' first hit of the ball game just a few minutes ago. As Lanford settles in, they're trying to combat the speed of Cummings with a throw from Fiore and then a throw down to first base by the catcher for the Braves, Simpson. Cummings is back safely, though, as he notices it just in time and slides a hand into first base before the tag. And Cummings, off a pickoff attempt, first baseman loses the handle on the throw, bobbles it, and Cummings, with that blazing speed that we talked about before his at-bat and during this at-bat, he uses that to great effect, stealing second base for the Jaguars and making something happen on the base pads, taking a little bit of the pressure off of Lanford and applying it more toward Fiore on the mound. And a bunt attempt is beautifully laid down. Lanford avoids the tag at first base. Absolutely magnificent play by Cody Lanford, realizing that he had to hustle down the line to beat the play. Second baseman did not cover first base, as you would see in a traditional wheel play at first base, so he had nobody to throw to. Lanford ducked underneath the tag, had his hand in before the first baseman's foot collided with a bag, stands in at first. Absolutely heads-up play and beautiful play for Cody Lanford. And that gives way to Tyler Roberts, and Jaguars are in prime position here to acquire a run with nobody out here in the third and runners at first and third. So after going 2 innings of a hitless ball game for Fiore, he winds up in the bottom half of the third inning, allowing 2 hits off of well-placed ideas and singles from both Cummings, who had one up the middle, and Lanford, who had a bunt, was trying to sacrifice Cummings, but wound up getting a single out of it. Roberts' first pitch hacking, and that sends one skied out to second base. Cummings is going home. That speed is implemented again, and the Jaguars have their first run off of what I initially thought was not a deep enough ball for Cummings to even try to migrate home, but that speed fools me again as Cummings just delivers home the first run for the Jaguars off the bat of Tyler Roberts off of a sac fly into shallow right field. And now Cole Janalsic, who has an opposite field approach, and he has an expertise in that, that has been his direction of a lot of his hits this series. And Lanford on that play, trying to pick Cummings off at the plate, which was unsuccessful. He moves over to second base now and is 180 feet away. Fiore is worried about him and worried about giving up the lead. And doesn't concentrate on doesn't concentrate on Janalsic at the plate, and Lanford takes off for third after a ball in the dirt from Fiore, to where Simpson had a little bit of difficulty blocking the ball. Squirted out to his left, and that allowed Lanford the extra space that he needed to mosey on into third. Janalsic now taps one foul off to the right-hand side. So Fiore, after 2 scoreless innings, loses his shutout and his complete game effort with surrendering 2 hits and 1 run in the bottom half of the third inning, and he's still not out of that neck of the woods with only 1 out. And the second run comes across off the bat of Cole Janalsic with a awesome 1-strike hit that sails over second base and into center field, perfectly placed to where center fielder Rivera, as fast as he is, could not catch up with the trajectory of the ball. It falls right in front of him, and the Jaguars, their bats have awoken here in the bottom half of the third inning, escorting across 2 runs and forcing a chat on the mound between the pitching coach and Fiore. He's talking with his defense as well as the catcher and pitcher. So the Jaguars are putting the pedal to the metal and putting some aluminum on the bats here in the second inning, as they have come back and tied this ball game up with a beautifully placed single up the middle from Cole Janalsic. And he will hand the plate appearance over to Ty Hobbs. A cleanup here for the Jaguars. So Fiore, not able to work out of this predicament that he was in, is suffering the consequences with the game being tied. Janalsic showing off his speed at first base. Takes off on the first move from Fiore, but a foul ball off the bat of Hobbs negates that steal attempt. Chris Howell looking to cause anarchy on the base paths with a hit and run attempt and a steal attempt there. Neither of them worked. So we will reset. Hobbs again got aluminum on it. Will it get out of bounds though? In foul territory. Second baseman for the Braves hauls that one in for the second out of the third inning. Hobbs got under that one just a touch. And Carrington Evans now stands in for the Jaguars. In his plate appearances this series, he has been a sharpshooter, placing balls in holes to where nobody can get to him, having himself a series with the bat. But he looks at the first offering from Fior, which catches the middle of the plate. A check on Janalsic over at first base. So your two outs were from Roberts and from Hobbs, but everybody else who has been at the plate for the Jaguars has been on base this inning. Janalsic takes off and he is nailed at second base on a very good swipe tag by Hardings at second, blocking the base with his leg, not allowing for any room, and placing the tag where he couldn't get his hand on the base. And that'll wrap up the third inning, but not before the damage is done, as Augusta quickly at nights here for 2 runs on 3 hits. It's a brand new ball game as we set sail for the 4th inning. Cullenberg's back on the mound for his 4th inning of duty, as this ball game is now tied 2-2. Cullenberg's next pitch. That ball is pelted out into shallow center field, where Wagner camps under it for the first out here in the 4th inning. And so now your 9th place hitter, Mobley, comes in and comes a calling at the plate for the Braves. Squaring off against Cullenberg. Cullenberg, after 2 runs in the, or 1 run, in the first inning and 1 run in the second, Inning has settled down nicely here in the third and fourth innings. As Cohenberg barely misses with that fastball. Tried to nail the outside corner, but just a little bit too outside. And again, misfires with a fastball up this time. So it's a 3-ball and no strike count. As Mobley looks at ball 4, that takes a tumble into the lower part of the strike zone and misses. Roberto Rivera now, the top half of the order for the Braves, is a table setter, but he has a chance here to knock in a run, as he did in last night's ball game with a triple that escorted the Braves and plated 2 runs. But as we see here, he has a runner on first base in the first game of the doubleheader here in the fourth inning, and he looks at a ball that travels south. Lanford's talking about the position that he and Roberts will be playing out in the infield. Double play depth. And with Rivera's speed, even the simplest type of double play can cause havoc, because they've got to be quick with the transfer, quick with the grab, quick with the transfer on the opposite side of either short or second, and then an accurate throw over to first to connect with Hobbs' glove. So they have got to be quick if they're going to look at a double play in this scenario with Rivera at the plate. But that also entails on Cohenberg migrating the ball down in the zone, but that one was left up. So a little bit lower this time, and inside, perfect placement on that fastball. As it is a 3-1 count. Hobbs is holding Mobley at first base. That ball's hit past the outstretched glove of Janalsic into the corner in left field. 1 run will hightail it around to score. As quickly as the Jaguars struck back, the Braves tomahawked their way by a show of force here, elevating their run total to 3, and they now are in the lead by 1. And they have Rivera in a pickle. Great piece of pickoff work from Cohenberg and Roberts. As it goes, Cohenberg, Roberts, Janalsic, and then Lanford with the tag over at the shortstop position in the baseline. Cohenberg executes that pickoff very well and allows himself some breathing room working out of a 2-out jam. Comes right back at Cohenberg. Couldn't quite put the squeeze on it, but reacts to it, gathers himself, composes himself, and fires over to first base, where Hobbs squeezes the ball tight for the 3rd out, and we migrate to the top half, or excuse me, bottom half of the fourth inning with the Braves in front by a single digit. Venturing up to the plate and ready to kick things off here in the bottom half of the fourth inning is Carrington Evans, who had a laser out to center field, out to Rivera, but the quick, speedy Rivera got to the ball promptly and retired Carrington. This time around, it is a shortstop playing a great backhanded stab, transferring it nicely to force out the speedy Evans at first base. Great play with his back towards second. And now Sperling marches up to the dish for the Jags. One pitch, one quick out here in the bottom half of the fourth. Sperling elects to not swing at that pitch. Looked absolutely gorgeous, but a good take as Fior is in a quick hold now. 1 ball and no strikes. Make that a pair of balls, as that misses the outside corner. Two quick balls and one pitch inside. Calls for the out of Sperling by the third baseman Beaver, coming in behind home plate in foul territory. The catcher Simpson lost it in the sun, but following the ball from the third base down to almost where home plate was Beaver, calling off the catcher and making the grab. Jim Wagner settles in as your hitter for the Jaguars with 2 outs. So far, the pitch total this inning for Fior is, with that strike, 5 pitches. So a little bit low on that offering as Wagner does his best to watch that ball into the glove. This time he takes a bat off the shoulder and swings at it and pops it up into the shallow infield, where the second baseman calls off everyone, and the cavalcade of Braves, the second baseman retires Wagner, as we will navigate ourselves over to the 5th inning, and we have a 3-2 ball game in favor of the Braves. Cullenberg has his work cut out for him down a run and will go toe-to-toe with the heart of the order. 3, 4, and 5 due up here in the 5th inning. Buffkin likes what he sees on the first pitch and offers a swing at it just a little bit late. And that ball carries off to the right in foul territory. Releases that curveball way too early. And it doesn't curve enough. It's high in the strike zone. As Cullenberg again stands ready. High pitch again that doesn't collect with the strike zone. As it's 2-1. And that pitch is high, but it's low enough to get some aluminum on him, and that's skied out to center field. Jim Wagner trots over to get it to collect out number 1. And now the right fielder, a speedy right fielder at that for the Braves, and Debo stands in. And his eyes like that pitch so much that he just watches it into the glove of Alford. But he gets punished for it with a strike call. Great pitch by Cullenberg. Paints the outside corner masterfully there. And Debo, still thinking about it, asks for time to get set back and get his mind right, ready to go. Tried to Cullenberg express himself on the outside corner, but misfires. So it's a 1-2 count now. Inside out approach takes Debo's pitch out toward third base. Janowski reaching into the stands out past the Jaguar dugout, but cannot make the grab. As Cullenberg gets a second chance, so does Debo, down in a hole, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a floater that doesn't do anything but just stays at the top of the strike zone. Umpire does not give the strike call on that one, so it's a deadlock count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cullenberg, inside corner, tries to get Debo napping, but doesn't. Instead, Debo returns the favor with a loud, screaming loud out toward Carrington Evans in left field. He was almost at the warning track with the ball carrying as much as it did. No wind on the day, so it was just pure power, but it sent Carrington back almost to the track there. He was playing deep as it was. But nonetheless, Carrington corrals the second out, and now we will head to Bockham, the DH. First pitch he's hacking, as that is a concourse area ball. Bockham watches that pitch low. Got a matchup with with Cullenberg, a left-hander. And Baucom, a right-hander, favors the batter Baucom. Is able to see the release point clearly and know the speed and the rotation of the ball. Only thing he's got to do is speculate where the location is, and 9 times out of 10, he figures that out and puts aluminum on the ball, as he just did right there. Wags, with his speed in center, cannot track that one down, so it migrates all the way to the wall, and Baucom stands at second with a blazing double. So Cullenberg almost worked out of the heart of the order, but the DH, number 5 hitter in the Braves lineup, Baucom, tattooed Cullenberg with that fastball that was deposited into right center field that went all the way to the wall. And so now Baucom will give way to Beaver at the dish. His first pitch he sees, he's also swinging and fouls that one off to the right a little bit late. But not on that one, as that one was a touch too early. Pulls that one this time out in foul territory near the playground area here at Lake Olmstead Stadium. A gorgeous day for baseball. Minor clouds in the sky. Sun is out. As Beaver got fooled on a changeup drastically, swings very early and was fooled, and he is down on strikes. He will sit down at the bench long enough to get his glove on and head back out to third base. So, 5th inning comes a calling here at Lake Olmstead Stadium in the bottom half of the 5th inning with the Jaguars due up. Let's see if they can get the aluminum bats back working and strike back to tie this ball game up. Find out after this. Bottom half of the 5th inning here at Lake Olmstead Stadium in a double dip today. Get a game shortly after this one, but the first game is tight, is very tight, as it is. The score is 3-2. Braves are on top. My name is Blake Collins, and my broadcast partner, Taylor Lamb, started out the game on commentary, but due to a circumstance to where we are short on staff today, he has been pulled over to do public announcing here at Lake Olmstead Stadium. So I will be with you for the rest of the way here in Game 1 and Game 2 shortly following this game. And Alford, who comes up for the Jaguars, doesn't waste too much time as he sends a bouncer out to Beaver, collects himself and fires over to first to gather the first out. The bottom half of the 5th inning. Cummings bounces one to second. Great pick there by Hardings on a high bounce. Corrals it as the ball was coming down. Baskets to grab, transfers it over, throws over to first to get a speedy Cummings as Lanford now is the last hope here in the 5th inning for the Jags. That pitch was low as Lanford did a good job of watching that pitch hit the glove and not offering at it. Fior's still in the ball game, and 3 up and 3 down mentality comes to fruition for Fior's. 3 up and 3 down go the Jaguars. 6th inning rolls into play when we come back. So Cullenberg starts off his 6th inning battling Hardings, the second baseman for the Braves, looking to get something started. They were silenced the last half inning, so looking to come alive in the 6th. And he puts a charge into this one. Carrington on the run. Had to break his stride a little bit, lunging for that pitch, but grabs that one out of thin air. So Carrington retires the first out for the Jaguars in Hardings. And now the catcher, Simpson, walks his way into the box. And stares at a first pitch high and tight from Cullenberg. Again inside, but lowers at pitch on the inside corner. Simpson just lasers one out in left field, out to where the cars are coming in around Lake Olmstead Stadium. Thank goodness it didn't hit a car, but that ball was just hammered out in foul territory. No harm, no foul on that ball in the dirt for the Jags, as Alford doesn't do a good job of blocking it. He does keep it beside him, though, but no runners are on base, so the count is deadlocked at 2-2. Simpson on 2 hard-hit balls, one to left field in foul territory, and then that one to Roberts, who doesn't have to move much, just settles under it nicely, picks it off the dirt, and tosses it over to Hobbs at first base. And now Mobley is at the dish here with 2 outs. Strike 1 on an even count. Broke the speed of the bat on that one. That changeup drastically fooled Mobley there. Way out in front of that one. Kohlenberg comes set again. Another off-speed pitch, this time up at the shoulders of Mobley. Good job of not offering at it. This, he gets a pitch that he likes and squirts it into shallow center field. Roberts with a excellent effort on a dive to try to pick that ball out of the air, but it falls to the right of him, so it doesn't connect with the glove, and Mobley finds himself at first base with a 2-out single. And a man, if you are the Jaguars, you don't want it at the plate, but if you are the Braves, this is one of the guys that you want at the plate in this type of situation in Rivera. The leadoff man who has 4 out of the 5 tools that you always hear in baseball: speed, arm, and powers. That ball skied into center field. Wagner's there, tracks it down, walks under it, and the 3rd out in the top half of the 6th inning is recorded. So we migrate to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Lights out for the Jags half inning and the Braves half inning. Let's see if the Jags can come back to life here in the bottom half of the 6th inning on the other side of the break. Tyler Roberts now in the dish for the Jags in the bottom half of the 6th inning. As his first pitch, he watches into the glove from, I believe it's Fior still on the mound for the Braves. anchoring down his 6th inning of work. And has deadened the count here at 1-1. Doesn't elevate that fastball and gets the call as that pegged the heart of the plate. And Roberts, all he could do, was thinking about a changeup, all he could do is watch that pitch into the zone. Releases that one a little too early, does Fiore, and that ball travels a little bit southward on him and a little bit to the right. That ball again just a smidge outside as Roberts has some educated eyes at the plate and has worked this count to a full count now with a payoff pitch upcoming. And he serves that one into right field. It's a very close call as that ball could have gone either way. A little bit to the right of the right field foul line. So Tyler Roberts was on his way to first base and looked to have gotten to 2. But he will have to redo that as the count remains at a full count. Off of that emotional foul ball. Gets it elevated a little bit, though, in right field. The Braves are there for the put away. One out here in the bottom half of the 6th inning. As Janowski walks up to the dish, and Hobbs will follow regardless of if Janowski gets on or not. Then, after Hobbs, it depends on if Janowski or Hobbs gets on. Carrington Evans is in the hole for the Jags. But Fiore has his work cut out for him with Janowski at the plate. Janowski, again, with those eyes, it doesn't bite and does not offer at that. He does offer that one to second base. Little bit of a bobble causes Janowski, with the speed of Janowski, to reach first base safely. So, costly bobble there on the transfer, trying to go to first base before he had a firm grip on the ball. And Janowski, with speed, has the ability to do anything that Chris Howell at third base wants to do, whether it be a hit and run scenario, straight steal, or run on contact or anything to avoid a double play. If the Braves do get a double play, it will end the 6th inning. And once again, fans, thank you for being patient with us at the start of the ballgame. We are back now live with you here. We got everything taken care of about the second or third inning, so thank you for tuning in with us. And again, my broadcast partner Taylor has been pulled over to do public announcing duties here at Lake Olmstead Stadium, so I will be taking you through the rest of this game and also game number 2. As Hobbs doesn't get a look off of that Fior pickoff move over at first base. Hobbs gets a pitch this time that he wants to drill, but swung the bat a little bit behind the ball and ushers that one to the backstop. So just to set the table for you, my name is Blake Collins, and we're in the bottom half of the sixth inning. An even count at 1-1, with Janowski on first base, who dives back into first safely with one out. The Braves accumulated 2 runs, 1 run an inning the first 2 innings. Then they got one back in the 4th inning. The Jaguars are complacent right now, scoring their 2 runs in the 3rd inning and have been shut out since. The Jaguars only have 3 hits on the day to the Braves' 8. It's an errorless ball game for the Jags on defense, with 2 errors for the Braves to boot. Again, Janowski at first. Hobbs again is in a deep battle here, digging in the trenches and staying alive. And again, much like last night's ballgame, checking on the speed of Janowski. Burke was your pitcher last night, and he threw over there, and we joked about it. It looked like about 1,000 times. It was the most times that I've seen a pitcher throw over there in a ball game in a half inning. It was about 15 or so times Burke threw over there. Not as drastic today, but again a check back before that 2-2 offering, which was a ball to Hobbs. And Hobbs swings right through that. Carrington Evans at the plate for the Jags. But one more thing on Burke. Burke, coming into last night's ballgame, the pitcher for the Braves, was one of the leaders in terms of ERA for the Peach Belt Conference. And he did very well up until about the 5th inning or so, when it all came unglued. And, of course, the throwback over to first base, which didn't help matters much. But today is a little bit more calmer, little bit Viort's concentrating more on the hitters and just keeping the runners at bay at first base. But he stands in against Carrington Evans, who is lighting it up when he gets the starts for the Jaguars. Earlier this game, he has not had a hit yet, but he has hit the ball hard twice. Fiort looks in. Carrington spoils a pitcher's pitch down low. He's still in a hole, 0-2, but now Evans is in protection mode all the way. Anything that closely resembles that wider 19-inning strike zone for Carrington now. He will be swinging. Or that 19-inch strike zone, I should say, not 19 innings, because we had a 17-inning ball game against Saginaw Valley last Tuesday. It was a 17-inning ball game against Newberry on March the 1st that we went long in. But there, Carrington doesn't even get to finish the at-bat as Janowsic gets thrown out at second base to end the inning. The Jaguars do go quietly as the 7th inning rolls around, and we'll see if Cohenberg steps back on the mound or if the bullpen activity that's out there now, and if a new pitcher will be called into the ball game by Chris Howell. We'll wait and see. So indeed, Chris Howell elects to go and call the bullpen for the new right-handed sidewinder Casey Leenock on the mound for the Jaguars. And Leenock will square off against Luke Jackson here in the 7th. So you've got the 2, 3, and 4 hitters up. If anybody gets on, it will be Balcom, the DH. But Leenock, a right-handed sidewinder, so a little bit of a visual adjustment here for the Braves. Let's see if they can adjust to that with a different arm angle from Leenock. As first pitch, Jackson looks at a strike right down the pipe. Again, fastball, this time a little bit lower, taps it over to third base. Janowsic quick with a transfer and guns him out at first base. And so now, middle of the order stands in as Bufkin walks up to the dish. Tried to be a little bit refined there and catch the inside corner, but just a little bit too far inside. As that pitch nails the heart of the plate, as it's a even count at 1-1. And that ball is tapped foul. Buffkin with good hands inside the baseball. It just was a little bit too far in front of that, bouncing it foul over to their third base coach. Goes the opposite way this time. Hogg said it has a chance on it, but thinks about going to the bag before making the play, and the ball scoots under his glove. So Buffkin is at first base with one out. Usually you want to try to work from the ground up to your body instead of your body down to the ground, and that's what caused the ball to squirt through Hobbs's wickets there and underneath the glove, and Buffkin is having himself a day standing at first base. So 2 quick balls out to Debo, the right fielder. Jags looking for the inning-ending double play for the Braves half inning. A little bit of a loose cannon was Leenock with that fastball, as that fastball left him and wasn't pinpoint with the location. As it's 2 balls and no strikes. Well, excuse me, it's 3 balls and no strikes, as Debo just looks at a ball up in the zone for a 4-pitch walk. And so now Balcom, the DH, has a chance to do some heavy damage and apply pressure on the Jaguars and acquire an insurance run for the Braves, with that insurance run 180 feet from home plate. And that pitch is a strike right on the inside corner. Just a smidge outside from Leenock. Leenock again sets, this time up in the zone. And it is quickly gone from a 1-1 count to a 2-1 count. Straight up the middle is the infield. Outfield, Widener's playing as straight up as he possibly can, but shading him just a smidge toward right. That ball was fouled off of the leg of Balcom. That ball had to hurt. It's a speed inflicted the damage as Leenock's pitch was inside, fouling off the bat. The speed of the ball was not twice as fast, but coming off the bat, you use the pitcher's speed to your advantage, and when you hit it, the ball is faster coming off the bat. So when it impacts a body part like it did with Balcom, you hear and you can feel the pain shooting through the leg of Balcom. but he doesn't let up with that pitch. Serves that offering from Leenock into left field. One run does come across, and that insurance run is big right now and could be massive in the later innings as we navigate forward. But here in the 7th, they tack on an insurance run, now ahead by 2, 4-2. And still, Leenock is not out of the woods yet with any further success, as runners are at second and third now with one out. And it hands the damage off to Beaver to see if he can capitalize on it. And first pitch he sees, that is elevated to right field, deep, as Sperling got twisted around out in right field. And a ground rule double allows for both runners to shoot home to score, as it is now a 6-2 ball game. So the Braves ratchet up their lead to 4 runs. So the Braves are really getting to Leenock and tomahawking some balls out to the deep annals of the ballpark here at Lake Olmstead Stadium. The deep interior and exterior are being utilized well by the Braves. It's 400 feet to center, about 330 down the lines. Leenock's first offering is a ball inside to Hardings, the second baseman. And again, a little bit wide on the inside corner. Allows for Harding to work at a nice pace here, work Leenock into a hole, and get his pitch ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. Elevates that pitch out to center field. Jim Wagner's under it. But the runner from second, Beaver, tags, and he is at third with 2 outs. And it all comes down on the shoulders of Simpson here to scratch across this insurance run to make it 7-2. Will he? It's Leenock's job to say, no, sir, you won't, and quell this at bat. But an opposite field fish shot is in fair territory, and they do acquire that 7th insurance run, as it is now the Braves are in firm control of this ball game, up by 5. As Chris Howell comes out. And that will be Leenock's day. Usually the bullpen is an anchor for the Jags, but here faltering thus far in this ball game as the bullpen has given up 3 runs to make this a 7-5 ball game. And we will be back to fill you in on the new pitcher. Jordan Kelly steps on the mound for the Jaguars in his second pitch. He gets Mobley to pop up to Alford, who makes the snare. The Jaguars had a tight ball game at the start of the 7th inning, but lead the top half of the 7th inning down by a 5-point spread. Can they make a comeback? They have 9 outs to do it. We'll see what happens on the other side. Fiore is still on the mound for the Jaguars. Why would you take him out at this point? Only giving up 2 runs on 3 hits. But he does have a tough task in front of him with Evans starting it off in the bottom third of the order, or excuse me, middle of the order. 5, 6, and 7 due up here for the Jaguars. First pitch Evans sees is sprayed out toward right field, and that will find the Brave bullpen. Here at Olmstead Stadium, the Green Jackets' initial stadium, they are moving out to North Augusta, South Carolina with Project Jackson. Evans, though, for the Jaguars, fists one out to center field, falls right in front of the speedy Rivera, and you've got another speedster on first base in Evans. But Project Jackson is underway. There are talks that Augusta University will get Lake Olmstead Stadium as their permanent home once the Jaguars vacate the premises, but it is in preliminary talks. And the Jaguars are looking, they were hoping for a 2017 visit into the confines of Project Jackson, but it looks like it's 18 or 19 before they'll get there. That ball from Wagner, or excuse me, Sperling, that ball from Sperling is elevated deep into center field, but Rivera is there at about 380 feet to make the catch. And then Wagner stands in to the box. Wagner, excellent eye there, watching that pitch soar wide. And Wagner cuts inside on a fastball and misses the ball completely. Absolutely great piece of hitting by Wagner. Digs it out of the low part of the strike zone. Inside out approach engulfs that into shallow center. Jaguars are in control, but they still have work to do. They're down by 5 as we exit the stretch with runners on first and second. And Brent Alford at the plate. Last night, they came from behind, down by 3, 5-2, and cranked a home run and also played ABC baseball to tie it, and then to scurry ahead the 2 runs that they ultimately beat the Braves with last night, 7-2. It's looking like ABC baseball is working for them now in the bottom half of the 7th inning with runners on first and second. Let's see what Alford can do if he can continue to play the ABC game. But he sees that one, but he does not offer at that fastball inside. And it is now a deadlock count at 1-1. Curveball curves inside. Had Alford turning his shoulder into the catcher to try to avoid that curveball. So it's a 2-ball-and-1-strike count. Make that 3-1 as that pitch settles outside of the zone. And Fiore is trying to orchestrate working out of this preliminary jam that he has, as that ball is out of play on the covering of Lake Olmstead Stadium here above the bleachers. And again, fights that one off to the left side. But the Braves settle under that one in the glove of Buffkin at first base. No advancement. As now it's Cummings' job to get the scoring started for the Jaguars. He is your 9th place hitter, so at the turnover, if he does get a hit, it will be the top half of the order. But he's got to put aluminum on the ball first. He does that, but it ventures foul. It's now Cummings awaits his 0-1 offering. And Fiore delivers. Chopper, first base. Fiore cannot play it cleanly. Had to dive for it as it was moving past him at a rapid rate. So he dived for it to try to corral the baseball, but couldn't. And it opened first base up, and with Cummings' speed, he easily beats out the wrap from the first baseman to make it safely to first base. So now bases are juiced for the first time in game number 2, game number 1 of the doubleheader. But let's see if Cody Lanford can bring some of these boys home. You've got Cummings at first. You've also got runners at second and third. First pitch inside. Gets a red light from the umpire as it signals ball 1. That ball buzzes the outside corner but cannot peg it, as it is now a 2-ball and 0-strike count. And that ball is ripped into center over the head of Rivera. And all 3 runners are coming home. And freaking Lanford stands at third base, ripping the ball over Rivera's head. And Lanford absolutely kills that fastball. And the Jags, one swing of the bat, right back in this thing, down by 2. That was a freaking absolutely great job there by Lanford, staying inside the baseball and just killing that fastball over the head of Rivera. Wonderful job. Wonderful job by Lanford. And now, what was a prominent start for Fiore may end here in the bottom half of the seventh inning with a misreading of the ball out in center by Rivera, causing Fiore and his day to possibly end here, as Cody Lanford, as I described it, as a freaking good job. That was an excellent hit, great wood on that pitch, or great aluminum on that pitch, excuse me. And Cody Lanford absolutely is clutch all day long, as he's done in several games this past year for the Jaguars. Gets him right back into the swing of things. The momentum has shifted and is in the Jags' favor. We'll see if Roberts can get Lanford home from third when we come back. So you've got a Simpson battery as your new hurler on the mound is Hank Simpson. Is your right-hander coming in to a jam with Lanford at third base. Did a phenomenal job along with a misread by the center fielder Rivera crushing home 3 runs, and now the Jaguars are only down by 2 with 2 outs, and Roberts has worked himself into a 3-1, 3-ball, 1-strike count. And the Jaguars have elevated their hit total from 3 to 7, as well as their run total from 2 to 5. And Roberts looks at a fastball down the pipe. A clutch Roberts last year and this year as well. Was an anchor in that comeback last night with a single into left field that tied the ball game. And now Roberts on a bad hop out toward shortstop. You never can tell what type of hop you're going to get, especially with the dirt here at Lake Olmstead Stadium and the turf. And that took a funky hop, a bad hop that went over the head of the shortstop, and Lanford's run home from third. And the Jaguars are only down a run now, 7-6. Here in the 7th inning, we have 3 more innings to go in the first ball game. Today. That strike is on the outside corner. Caught Janowski eyeing that one into the glove. Tyler back in at first. The official scoring on that is a hit because you cannot give an error to a shortstop who did not have a prayer of a chance at that play when that ball took a very bad hop. As Roberts executed that hit and run scenario very well, but Janowski on his end of it fouls it off. So we will reset, and we will redo the 1-2 pitch. And Roberts again shoots back into the bag safely. Janowski awaits the 1-2. Make that 2-2 off of a fastball that tails away instead of backdooring Janowski. So it's a good eye as 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 7th inning and an even 2-2 count. to pop up to third base. Beavers under it. Battles the sun and corrals it, but not before a massive amount of damage is done. The Jaguars, off of the bat of Cody Lanford, score 3 runs and tack on 1 more for the RBI for Tyler Roberts. A massive 4-run inning for the Jags. Gets them right back into the thick of things. As we head top half of the 8th inning, this game is getting really, really good. You don't want to miss the rest of this. We will see you at the top half of 8. Kelly is back in for his second inning of work for the Jaguars. Faces a tough opponent, though, in Rivera. As the table setter watches that ball venture into the strike zone. Got a lefty-righty matchup, so the matchup favors Rivera. And a call that Rivera did not agree with. Caught the outside corner, the umpire says, and Rivera steps out to think about it and survey the field to see what he can do. As Kelly has worked his way out in front. 2 strikes. Make that 1 strike as that ball settles in outside. Couldn't backdoor the outside corner far enough. And Rivera grounds one to shortstop, but Roberts' quickness is prime there. He transfers nicely, gets the grip on it, tosses it over to Hobbs, and the out is recorded. As Jackson stands in, takes a first pitch outside of the zone, and then Kelly comes back, tacks in on the corner, and this pitch doesn't tack anywhere in the strike zone as that ball breaks down in the dirt. Second strike is tacked on after that bouncing foul ball off to the left-hand side. Kelly delivers inside fastball that eats up the body of Janowski. Janowski couldn't have played that any better, getting his base settled under it, but just a bad hop eats him up, and the bounce went over his shoulder. And Jackson winds up at second off of a double from Jackson. So the official scoring on that is a hit, because the same situation applies as to what their shortstop went through on the bad hop to Roberts. With that hop, Janowski was in position. The hop just ate him up, and he couldn't do anything with it. He didn't get glove or anything on that, and that's how Luke Jackson is at second. So it stands as a double and not an error on Janowski. And head coach Howell for the Jags has seen enough from Kelly, as his day will end with keeping the score at bay thus far here in the 8th inning. Good job all the way around. For Kelly this half inning, as we will get the new pitcher out to you on the flip side of this break. So the junior from right here in Augusta, Georgia, and went to Westside High School, David Hagelson gets the nod here, trying to preserve this one-run deficit for the Jags. But his next two hitters are two of the Braves' toughest, in Buffkin, and Debo. 3 and the cleanup batter, Debo, are scheduled to collide heads here with Hagelson. Hagelson looks in for the sign, gets it, fires away. Fastball is a little bit elevated. So 1-0 count now to Buffkin. Scorched that bouncer foul. Third base coach for the Braves almost made a heck of a play in picking that ball off the bounce, but to no avail. So we'll set right back in here at home plate as you have a 1-ball, 1 strike count. And that ball is tattooed out to center, but Lanford is under it for the catch. And a great attempt at trying to throw out the advancing runner from second to third by Wagner just a little bit late. That's great execution on hitting your cutoff man, and the cutoff man getting extra velocity on his throw to third base to make that closer than what it was. As now Debo stands in with 2 outs. And they have the runner and the fans and Chris Howell had Buffkin picked off. David Hagelston applied the tag, but umpire says it swiped over the sliding Buffkin, and Chris Howell is having some harsh words for the umpire as he is a little bit amped in his commentary and arguing with the umpire. As there's a lot of fans as well adamant about that call not being going the opposite way of the Jags. As it looked like from here, as he was out, but the umpire was right there on the play, and now there's a conference call between the umpires, and the score will still stand. As Chris Howell, head coach, is not done, and he's asking to see what he saw, and also not only that, but to see if he can get a conference between the field umpire and home plate umpire. Umpire's not giving it to him. So a crucial insurance run that could have gone either way works in favor of the Braves. Controversy here at Lake Olmstead Stadium, as the bases are now cleared, and your batter is still Debo, and he shoots one into left field. That falls in front of Evans, and Debo will wind up at second. So a double out of controversy at the plate prolongs this inning for the Jaguars. That tag at home plate, it looked like it was on the body, but I could see where the umpire would say it went over the body and the shoulder of Buffkin. Very close play, but controversy does prolong the inning, and as it stands now, the Braves are up by 2. With Debo cranking a double out to left field. So he is at second. Check swing by the DH Balcom. Umpire calls him red hot swinging at it. As Hagelston fired up after that last play, working to a 0 ball and 2 strike count lead, and that hit the bat. And now Brave head coach is wondering what the umpire saw. As he goes out for a quick word, hands the ball off to the umpire, and now walks his way back to the dugout. So now Balcom comes set. Bounces one to Roberts. Tricky hop. Handles it nicely. Fires over to first. Hobbs corrals it for the third out. But that insurance run that the Braves just got could prove costly for the Jags amidst controversy here in the seventh inning. Eighth inning. We go bottom half of 8. 6 outs to work with and 2 runs to get across to tie this game. We'll see if the Jags can bring the aluminum after this. Your cleanoff man for the Jags your cleanup hitter for the Jags is your leadoff hitter in the 8th inning, and Ty Hobbs. Hobbs looks at a first pitch strike, elevates that fastball, but does not swing at it. Good eye there by Hobbs. As the cushion expands to 2 runs for the Braves. Hobbs now waits. Fastball. Could not get the call, but the Brave bitch wanted that one. So now it is 3 balls and 1 strike. Hobbs looked like he thought that one was high, but the umpire awards that call to the Braves. Inside the strike zone, says the umpire, so a payoff pitch will be coming to the plate. Fisted into the shortstop position, a couple of steps over to his right, and the out is recorded by Mobley. Carrington Evans now back at the dish for the Jaguars with 1 out here. And at this point, the Jaguars are playing to get runners on the base pads because 1 home run without anybody on base won't do the trick. So you've got to have base runners in this scenario. which means contact and put the ball in play. That's what Carrington did just there. Just could not keep that ball fair, and it ventures into the bleachers over in right field. And that ball is ripped foul. Inside out approach. It's a little bit late as Carrington on that swing. Evans, a high chopper to shortstop. Great maneuvering of the feet, setting himself does Mobley, and fires over to first to acquire the second out of the inning, and a speedy Carrington is set down. Sperlin is up for the Jags. In his first offering, again another test for the shortstop, this time ranging a little bit further inward, throwing sidearm, a little bit low on the throw, but a great dig by the first baseman for the Braves, and they are out of this inning. So the Jags go down silently as we migrate to the ninth. And that pitch is fouled back as Hagelston is back out there for a second inning of work. As we are into the ninth inning. Hagelston freezes Pembroke on a fastball that tails inside, catches a corner, and catches Pembroke sleeping. And now Nick Salisbury, who is a pinch hitter for Pembroke, has a Dustin Pedroia type of stature, very short, is in fact my height at 5'5", but don't let that fool you. He's got a bulldog mentality, and also in that frame of his, he's got some very good power attributed to him. As last night he sent a huge shot out to right field deep at the warning track to hustle home a run for the Braves last night. He turns on that one very quickly, rotates his hips, and turns the body and shoots that one to Hobbs at first base. Hobbs very quick to the gun to squeeze that one into the glove and step on first. And now your catcher, Simpson, is back at the dish. First offering, he is impatient on this at bat as that ball finds its way into left field. Carrington could not catch up to the trajectory, so it falls in front of him as Mobley now comes to the plate ready to strike with a runner at first base. It depends on whether he's successful or not. As Mobley looks at a pitch inside. Mobley tries to blade that one into the air, but found nothing but thin air off of that changeup. One ball and two strikes. Hagelston takes the sign, fires. Bouncer to Janowski, eats him alive again, and runners will be safe as no throw comes from the hand of Roberts off of Janowski's glove at third base. Great back me up there from Roberts, but didn't have a play once the ball reached his hand. And a dangerous situation here if you are the Jaguars. You're down by 2, and you've got a 5-tool player at the dish ready to treat himself to 2 runs in the RBI total in Rivera. First pitch he sees is it's a squibbler down to Roberts. Gorgeous play. Diving stab. Collects himself. Glove flips it over to Lanford for the third out of the inning. So what looks like a hit for Rivera turns into nothing for the Braves as the Jags come up in the 9th inning, down by 2. 3 outs to go. Jaguars come to the plate for their last chance in Game 1 of the doubleheader, with Wagner stepping into the dish. First pitch with that educated eye. Views that one outside. Does not offer at it or take the bat off the shoulders. On an errant fastball that tails a little bit there. Out past the outer skirt to the outside corner. So it is 2 balls and 0 strikes. Why don't we make that 3-0? Darn good take there by Wagner. Great pitch there from the Braves. Braves got the better end of that shake. But Wagner keeps battling. Will that reach the seats? It stays in play, but the ball out races the left fielder, third base, and the shortstop to it. And it falls foul out of bounds on the track around Lake Olmstead Stadium. Out to where the tarp is for the grounds crew here at Lake Olmstead Stadium. Wagner gunning and ready. That ball is battled back into the netting here at Lake Olmstead Stadium behind home plate. Almost to the on-deck circle, where Alford awaits. And that ball again is fouled back. And it looks like Alford will be pinch hit for as Chris Howell elects to go with Patrick Watson. He is on the on-deck circle, and he will venture to the plate after Wags' bat as he swings and delivers a crucial base hit into center field. Inside-out approach. Doesn't go the opposite field, but the hands are out in front and the bat follows, and Wags nails one out into center field, and the trajectory of the baseball drops before Rivera could get to it. So now in the midst of a comeback, the Jaguars trust Patrick Watson in navigating Wagner around. And I believe that will be it for the Braves pitcher, as a little bit of strategy and a chess match is introduced here from Chris Howell, who puts in Patrick Watson, and then the Braves, Paul O'Neill, head coach, 17th season for the Pembroke Braves, executes his strategy in this chess match, and he brings in a new pitcher. Well, we will let you know who this new hurler is for the Braves when we return. So the dial tone is called to the bullpen, and out comes the number 14, Kyle Ramsey. Looks to shoot into this ball game and shut the door on a preliminary comeback executed by the Jags, and is in execution to scratch these runs across. But he has to deal with the elected pinch hitter for Chris Howell, and Patrick Watson is getting the call for the Jags. As you have a left-handed batter versus a right-handed pitcher. So the rotation and speed in terms of seeing the ball is in Watson's favor. Nobody out, and that's a short chopper to the pitcher. Pitcher assures himself the one out at first and runs it over halfway, and then underhands it to the first baseman, to Gardner, the first out in the ninth inning. And so Cummings now is looking to penetrate the baseball and get this run home at second, as Wags has pretty good speed on the base pads. The outfield is looking to concede the run for the out, because that insurance run in the inning prior is serving them well, but Cummings knocks a base hit into center. One run comes across, and an error by Rivera in center field misplays that and allows for the speed of Cummings to not only produce the run, but through that error produce a double. But that error, so in the books it is a single, but that error from Rivera allows for Cummings to make his way 180 feet from home plate. So the Jaguars are exhibiting a little bit of feistiness here in coming back, just as they did last night in the latter innings, and wound up winning last night's ball game 7-5. Cummings is at third off of a wild pitch. One out here in the ninth inning. Cummings is at third, so all Lanford has to do, Cody Lanford at the plate, all he has to do is put this ball in play. And if you hit a fly out, cream it deep enough to where Cummings, who has phenomenal speed, this guy is lightning fast at third base, to where he can come home and plate this eighth run for the Jags. But that is easier said than done, because in the heat of the moment, these pitches are coming in at 85, 88, 90 miles an hour. So you've got about 3 seconds to react to this pitch and get your base and extend the power through the legs and the arms to put this ball in play. As you saw right there, Cody gets a fastball and he swings right through it. So we've got 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. 2 outs to go. It could be longer than that if Cummings comes across the plate. Cody with time, surveying the field. The infield had stepped in a little bit. So the infield is trying to cut that runner from home as well. Playing shallower as the pitch goes in. Cody, you see the adrenaline pumping through him as it's two fastballs that are high. But he swings right through them for a 1-2 count. You realize the intensity and the adrenaline flowing through him. But he's trying to combat that and be calm and try to put a good swing on the ball. But he's over-amping himself up and swinging through these fastballs that look like stakes to him, but they are in turn like baseballs or tennis balls, so he's out in front. But that pitch was a curveball. Good change of speeds from the Braves. Great job of trying to fool Cody. Just did not get the location down that they wanted to. So it's a 2-ball and 2-strike count with 1 out here in the 9th inning. Everybody on the diamond is in, except for the catcher catching behind the plate and the pitcher. And now Cody has worked his way back to a 3-ball and 2-strike count. All you need is a little bit of contact. And that ball is pitched inside to Cody off a curveball that can't backdoor the inside corner. So now, here's the situation. 1st and 3rd, 1 out. The corners, 3rd. Beaver may play in. He may play even with the bag, and that looks like what he's doing. They have a chance here, do the Braves, for a game-ending double play. So, your middle infield, double play depth. First baseman's holding Lanford at first. Outfield is in, cutting off this run if there's a fly ball. The pitcher's job is to keep the ball in the lower part of the strike zone. And if you're Tyler Roberts here, you want to either hit a hard line drive through the gaps and through the infield, or a high fly ball that is deep enough for Cummings to come in at third base. The thing about that is we saw Cummings tag up from third base and come home on a fly ball that was in shallow right field and make it there safely. And we're talking maybe about 160 feet from home plate, and he made it there safely. So it doesn't take much, but if you're Pembroke, you want the ball low to where you can get the ground ball to get the double play. If you're the Jags, make contact first and foremost. Secondly, get good aluminum on it, elevate it to where you can get this run home. Ninth inning. Man, the intensity and the adrenaline here, you can feel it up in the press box. And now the double play is out of the order and out of question because Lanford steals second. So now all the infield will come in. A wee tad. All the infield will come in. You have the winning run at second, 180 feet away from the plate, with Tyler Roberts very clutch in his at-bats this season at the plate. And that ball's belted into center field. Rivera's under it. Cummings is coming home to play at the plate. Safe! Cummings is safe, and the Jaguars have tied this ball game. Absolutely great comeback from the Jaguars. And Tyler Roberts in the out did his job beautifully. And with a runner at third base with 2 outs, it is now the deciding factor. The deciding factor of this game is in the hands of Cole Janalsic as to whether we'll play extras or end it in the ninth. The Braves will actually take the bat out of Cole Janalsic's hands with an intentional walk. Now, the intentional walk in the majors will look differently this year because it's an automatic 4-base on ball. So all the head coaches will have to do, like Buck Showalter, like a Mike Matheny, like a Joe Girardi, all they will have to do is just hold up a 4 on their hands and they get a free pass to first base. It's a little bit different now in college. So the intentional walk is the original intentional walk implemented. So 4 pitches there sends Janalsic to first base. Now Ty Hobbs is in the box. Janalsic steals second easily. Catcher thought about throwing. Did Simpson. Froze Janalsic. They could have picked him off, but that runner at third would have seen that and then come home. So the second base is stolen easily without a throw. As now, strategy-wise for the Braves, do you want to take the bat out of Hobbs' hands and deal with Carrington with the bases juiced? Or do you pitch to Hobbs and make him get a base hit to send this game home for the Jags? And they're electing to pitch to the cleanup batter for the Jags. And he is now ahead 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, if he gets on base, the at-bat will be handed over to Carrington Evans. It is 3 balls and 1 strike now. Runners at second and third. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Game is tied 8 apiece. And that ball skied to second. Trouble, but the second baseman finally shoots under it to corral the third and final out of the 9th inning. But the Jaguars scratch and claw and scrape across 2 runs in the bottom half of the 9th inning, which nullifies that controversial call Hagelston and the tag at the plate in the latter half innings for the Braves. It's a brand new ball game as we go into extra innings. 8-8 is the score. And folks, this is just game 1. Wait until game 2 comes up. Because with game 1 being this good and we're still going, you know game 2 is going to be a game to watch. We will come back in the top half of the 10th inning, all squared, all back at square one with the score 8-8. So welcome back to free baseball here in game one, with Luke Jackson now at the dish for the Braves. We're in the top half of the 10th inning. The game looked like it was in firm control of the Braves, but then 2 runs were scratched and clawed across by the Jaguars to come roaring back to tie this ball game at 8 in the 9th inning. And that pitch, strike, right inside on the corner. Ball dips beneath the strike zone. 3-1 count. Hagelston is still on the mound for the Jags. And loses him on the 5th pitch of the at-bat, which does not bode well for Hagelston because he now faces the middle of the order, 3, 4, and 5 for the Braves, and Buffkin is the first man to face him from that middle of the order. Second place hitter, Luke Jackson, the left fielder for the Braves, is at first. And the Braves might even try to place a hit and run or steal. But instead, Buffkin bunts here. Phenomenal bunt. Very good job by the 3-place hitter. You don't see that very often because the 3-hole hitter is known for contact and power and consistency in that particular spot, but a very good decision to bunt there was effective, and Jackson is 180 feet from scoring the go-ahead run. And that ball squirts behind the catcher for the Jags. And Jackson is at third, so the go-ahead run with 1 out is 90 feet away. Same scenario, just turnabout's fair play as the Jags are coming in now in the top half of the 10th, where it was the Braves in the bottom half of the 9th having to come in to cut across this run, or to cut down this run from third base coming home. But we'll see what happens as Debo looks at 2 straight balls. And again, Hagelston is being meticulously careful with Debo, but a little bit too careful at times, as it's 3 balls and no strikes. So now off of a walk, Chris Howell was coming out to talk with Hagelston. But good position for the Braves. Runners at first and third. Bad thing for the Braves is the Jaguars could end this half inning with a double play with a runner at first base. So execution-wise, again, lower the ball if you're the Jags, get the ground ball, and turn to simply and precisely to get out of the inning. Now, if you're the Braves, you want Hagelston to elevate his pitches. That means taking close pitches and forcing Hagelston to pitch your pitch in a hitter's count. The Jags, the scenario is you do have a base open, though, with nobody on second and a runner at first. So I wouldn't think you would want to walk Balcom here. But just a thought, if he does wind up walking, it does apply a force at any base for a double play. It's a tough scenario to walk, but that is an option. But now, Hagelston and Balcom bunts, takes a double play out, because what we saw last inning was the same type of scenario. A bunt attempt did not work by Balcom there. Advances the runner from first to second. So now runners at second and third with 1 out. And that strike pierces the outside corner by Hagelston. And that ball is hit to Roberts. Play at home. Safe. And the run does come across for the Braves, as it is 9-8. Good play by Tyler Roberts to get it. Fire it on home. The throw was a little bit late. And the run does come across for the Braves. Nobody was out on the play. And you still have a double play in order. Now your third baseman, Beaver, for the Braves, stands in. Great play as the run tried to come across home plate off of a pickoff move to try to pick off the runner at first base, stealing to second. Great decision by Lanford there to receive the throw from Hagelston to pick off the runner at second and then quickly throw it home to gun the guy at home plate down. So it is 2 outs with only the 1 run coming across in the earlier play. And nothing other than that 1 run has come across. So a great decision by Lanford to keep it at a 1-run deficit. And Beaver takes a look at strike one. Meanwhile, Balcom stands at second. Good pitch. Beaver did not bite on the inside corner. That's where the pitch found the strike zone. It's a 0-ball and 2-strike affair here in the 10th inning. Good block by the Jags catcher to stabilize Balcom at second and not allowing him to get in motion to advance. That ball finds the dirt. As Hagelston cannot deliver a strike there. Hagelston looks in for the sign. Composes himself. Fires. Fastball. Naps the outside corner. To Salisbury. Tried to navigate to the outside corner, same spot, same location. Could not muster enough of a back door to pinpoint the outside corner. So the count stands at a deadlocking count at 1-1. Balcom sprints off a second on his way to third, but will have to retreat as that ball is foul off to the right. He's dancing around out there. Traditionally, you like to see a 3-step lead and then an initial step if you're going to steal, crossing over to navigate to the next base. But he's taken more than the traditional 3-step and venturing out to a 4-step lead. And Salisbury sprinkles that one over to the right side. Foul. And that ball is met with a glove from Hobbs at first base. Could not make the stab, but recovers nicely as that ball was hit on a rocket to him. Fires over to Hagelston, covering first base nicely. And the third out of the inning is recorded, but not before the Braves strike back quickly with 1 run of the 10th. We head to the bottom half. The Jags' turn to come alive. Throw down to second to signal the end of the warm-up tosses for the Pembroke Braves pitching staff is complete, and Carrington Evans will walk his way up to the batter's box and is in the ready position to hit. Evans ganders at a first pitch on the outside corner. Barely nips the outside corner, but the umpire gives the strike call anyway. Tried to venture out that way again, but Carrington with a very good eye and did not let that curveball fool him and watches it right into the glove for the first ball. And that ball, he skies one into left field. Rivera, a long track over there in front of the left fielder, calls him off and retires Carrington. Center fielder is the captain of the outfield because they have to trek the farthest. And also cover the most ground. Sperling. Good take, but an even better pitch. Levels in there for a strike. Curveball curved a little bit too far downward as it travels south into the dirt. And a little bit wild. He's starting to pull his pitches when he releases them, getting one too many fingers on top of the baseball and pulling it over to the left side. Or I should say pushing it over to the left side, rather. For right-handed pitchers, pushing it too far over to the left side of the plate. So it is 3 balls and 1 strike. Fires that one too far inside for Sperling to even attempt to swing at it. Tried to barehand it to the Braves, but they fire over to first to get Sperling. And the last hope for the Jags is in the form of Jim Wagner, the center fielder. Wagner at the plate now, watching that first pitch as a ball up in the zone. Higher than the zone that time, tried to cinch in the same spot but could not. As Wagner sitting pretty, 2 balls and no strikes. That fastball finds the strike zone and tumbles in under the hands of Wagner. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Your outfield's playing straight away. And so is your infield for the Braves. Strike, catches the inside corner. Wags is thinking about it too much. Did not like that call. If Wagner does get on, a pinch hitter will ensue in the form of Jose Noguera. As that ball is skied into left field. Left fielder in foul territory overruns it, slides, but could not make the diving stab. As the third baseman's back was turned to the infield, and so it's the shortstop, so the only one who had a clear path to it was the left fielder, and he overruns it. And I should say the best angle to that ball as well. Jim Wagner gazes at a ball outside, so it's a full count now. And that ball is ripped foul. Buffkin's playing about dead even with the line, so it would be tough to try to sneak one past him down the line. We'd try to have to go either gaps or between second and first, in between second and short, or third and short. But a walk ensues as Wagner keeps the game alive for the Jags. They have a runner aboard. And I believe it looks like Jose Nogueras does indeed, as we mentioned earlier, march up to the plate in a crucial spot here. So Chris Howell's trying to pull out all the stops, and that ball is skied into left field. First pitch he sees. This time the left fielder corrals the final out of game number 1. The Jags go down, but not without a fight as they come back and tie this ball game up a couple of times. The last time being the 8-all, but the Braves scratch, claw, fight their way ahead of the Jags, and they wind up with the victory here in game number 1, 9-8. So please stick around for game number 2, as we will be back in about 30 to 45 minutes with the second game of the Double Dip. My name is Blake Collins, and we will see you guys shortly.